It is a private sector-driven economy. That's what experts say when it comes to businesses blossoming and ultimately shutting down.
But what Melanie Gillespie found out about the draw to bring business to our region may surprise you.
It can often come with some pretty sweet deals for businesses, but high hopes for employees left to find a new job.
It's something we talk about all the time in the news. Layoffs in the masses from companies that's grown roots here to companies who may have only lasted a few years. But what we found out about incentives to bring these companies here may surprise you. As early as 2006, Spanish wind energy company Gamesa put down roots and wind farms throughout the region. Pennsylvania has seen its white-collar, blue-collar jobs, and under then-Governor Ed Rendell created a green-collar industry with alternative renewable energy, and it began as early as 2004. People like Brad Krug had high hopes for what he considered a sustainable career.
I really thought that it would just, bringing in a whole new technology, the whole renewable energy, and that's what everyone seems to want. Everyone's like, we want to, get off foreign dependence on oil. And then you give them something like this, they don't want it. Or in the case of this, politicians and politics kind of screwed it all up.
In 2009, lawmakers agreed to pump $800 billion in federal stimulus money into the U.S. economy, paired with tax incentives. Some of that is for renewable energy. The state gave $9.31 million in tax incentives for the Cambria County Gamesa site. And we discovered locally there were even bigger incentives with a LERTA, or Local Economic Revitalization Tax Act, that lasted 5 years. Essentially, Gamesa paid taxes on the land, but not the building itself. At the county level, there was $614,663 in tax breaks. Cambria Township, $246,522. Even Central Cambria School District approved $1,284,445 in tax incentives for the energy company.
It's been a great opportunity for us to, first of all, diversify in the energy sector, and we really were put on the map internationally with a wind energy company coming to our region. So it was a very positive thing, and it continues to be a positive thing.
But with the looming economic depression, the production blew through Cambria County.
I thought this was going to be like, I'd retire from here in 20 or 30 years, but it just didn't work out that way.
In 2009, Gamesa temporarily cut its workforce from 239 to 98, blaming the economy.
As soon as the first batch came, I figured a year later we'd be done, and it ended up being 2 years later. But
in 2012, Gamesa laid off the vast majority of those workers as production cooled off. Finally, in January of 2014, the company who made Cambria Township home for 8 years says it was closing up shop for good and moving to Mexico.
To me, it always goes back to the politics. I mean, when Murtha was in office, the defense contractors always had the jobs. Now that he's gone, you lose that back and you lose that support.
It's always disheartening when we lose, a business and those employees are impacted. And unfortunately, some of those employees that were at Gamesa were impacted a second time.
Company executives blamed the market and economy for mass layoffs like those at Gamesa and PBS Coals. PBS Coals had its fair share of furloughs. In 2012, it laid off 255 workers and idled 5 mine sites. 1 year later, 134 more Somerset County coal miners ended their workday without a job.
This is a private sector-driven economy. I don't care where you are. You can be in Pittsburgh, and today there's 10 companies going out of business. I'm just saying this is not a Johnstown issue. It's just the way the private sector is. You're going to see companies come and go.
It's tax breaks, federal, state, and local incentives that help bring businesses like Gamesa from foreign land to American soil.
There was a 5-year tax incentive on improvements to the property when Gamesa made the initial investment in the building.
A number of jobs have to be created within a number of years. So this is not free money for anybody. This isn't taking a business and saying, gee, we'd like to just shower you with free dollars. That never happens.
But it can also be what shuts them down.
Now they're just going to go through with their original plan, which was to ship it down that part of the country. Now they're just going to go to Mexico instead and get the added advantage of cheap labor.
Now that the 5-year incentive is over and the green energy issue expired, Gamesa won't owe anything in reimbursements or return. It will continue to pay property taxes until the building is sold to its next potential buyer.
How do we make Cambria County attractive to business? And then you don't have to worry about businesses leaving.
But there is hope on the horizon for ex-employees. Because of a closure due to foreign trade, there's additional money available to go back to school and get retrained.
They are accepted and approved as Trade Assistance impacted employees. They are eligible for additional benefits on top of what they're eligible for under unemployment compensation or the Workforce Investment Act.
So I'm going to be using that to go to school in June for welding at Triangle Tech.
Krug says it's tough starting over with 2 young children and a wife to provide for, but says it's his family that ultimately keeps him going.
But at the same time, it gives you a drive to want to do something more rather than just kind of kick around and find other jobs now. Being that I'm going to get the opportunity to go to school, I got something to fight for and something to look forward to.
I reached out to Gamesa for comment. I asked them if the company felt like they owed anything to employees or to our region because of picking up and leaving shortly after those incentives expired. The company spokesman says he had no specific comment. Melanie Gillespie, 6 News.